What's up, guys? Valence Ring here, and I wanted to bring you another video that closely ties into the other two I was doing, but not quite. And this is kind of more of a beginner's guide, but I think it has useful information for everyone. So if you are experienced, you don't necessarily have to click away. But this is for understanding testing for solo zombie layers. So if you're kind of already familiar with the process, then some of this is going to be a recap for you. But if you're not sure what that means or what you're doing with zombie layers and why you're doing it or why your alliance or state has recommendations that might not necessarily make sense, then this video is definitely for you. And I want to help you understand. I want to help everybody understand what it means to solo a zombie layer and why that's important. So let's talk really quick. Again, this how it ties into the other videos. I was talking about commander level and VIP level 10. So if you are specializing in a troop and you're doing zombie layers, you definitely want to be in your military tree and have your military talent set. And this is going to give you the max troop boosts possible. In addition, I have another video all about setting up your troop form, and you do that in your Hall of War. So you definitely want this as well. And this will show you, like you can see mine, if you look at my shooter attack, my shooter damage is, the troop might is 254 million. Now, that's my March might, not my necessarily my overall might. So it's taking into consideration all my boosts, all my hero boosts, nano weapons, everything. So that's why that might is higher than my actual might. But that being said, go in, make sure you have a good troop form set and that you have your talent set. If you're not there yet, that's okay. Actually, if you're not quite there yet, you might not be ready to solo zombie layers. You might be, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. You should be rallying the highest level layer possible. So that brings me to the first point, all about zombie layers. What do we want from a zombie layer? So I have two zombie layers here, a level 35 and a level 40. Now, if this level 35, this is what I solo. This is what I can do on a regular basis. And to solo literally means that I send all my troops and anybody joining the rally, which you have to have at least one join the rally. Anyone joining the rally is only going to send one troop. Now, hopefully they send the same type of troop that I'm using. So I'm shooter based. Hopefully they all send a shooter. It's not always the case. So you have to account for that. But more on that later. At any rate, if everyone sends just one troop for my zombie layer, then I can solo it. Well, that's the idea, is that I want to solo it. Why do I want to solo it is a good question. So when you solo a zombie layer, what you're looking for is maximum rewards. Your anti-serum, I get 150,000 out of level 35, plus your commander experience, and this happened to get a reward from a special event. And you're going to get your random food reward and your box, which you're going to open for additional rewards later. That being said, the higher the level of these rewards, the more beneficial, because oftentimes the stamina cost for certain tiers of zombie layers is going to be the same. So you want the highest, level zombie layer possible to get the max rewards. But what you don't want is a high casualty count. So let's say I could, let's look at this level 40 as a good example. This one took 4 of us to beat, and maybe 3 could have beaten it. And that's actually something we'd need to test. But let's say it takes 4 and it requires 4. Well, look at our total wounded. It's 21,000, wounded. That's a lot. Our heal time for this is approximately, for me, was approximately an hour. And it's going to vary based upon different boosts you have for healing. But that being said, this is an hour to heal versus, my 4,000, which is like 15, 20 minutes of healing. So obviously, if I can do a level 35 by myself, nobody else has to heal anything, maybe one troop. And it's only going to take me 15 minutes, 20 minutes to heal my troops. So that's a really good benefit. In addition, heals do cost resources. So the fewer heals I have, the less resources I'm spending. So now this 350,000 food doesn't go to waste. Instead of me spending it on heals, I'm able to spend that on other things like headquarters upgrades, which do get very expensive, as I'm sure most of you know. So that being said, as you can see, I'm at 60% on a level 35. There is no hard and fast rule of when you are going to be able to do the next level. There are multiple factors that play into this, and there's a lot of debate on what is the best tactic. A lot of people will say don't send vehicles. Some people say send vehicles. Some people say it hurts. Some people say it helps, and so forth and so on. And the dialogue continues. And I'm working on figuring all of that out for you, but that will be a different video. So, getting back into it, if you're only sending one troop and you're getting the highest level possible, how do you know what your level is? And that's more what this video is about, is testing for your solo zombie lair. Now that you know why we want to do it and the mechanics of it, how do you test for it? So realistically, because there is no number, there is no definitive answer, I can't say that you're going to be able to beat, if you have 100 million might, you'll be clearing level 30 zombies. That's not necessarily the case. It's going to depend upon a lot of factors. The type of troop you use makes a difference. So, for instance, as I showed you, my troop might for a level 35 is around 250 million, while King Daddy here, he can do, I forget what, a level 36 with only like 189, maybe 200 million might, because he's rider-based. So the type of troop makes a difference. The boosts that you have make a difference, and how all of that plays out makes a difference. So the reason I say this is because what you have to do is you literally have to go out and test it. There is no other way to determine what you can or cannot do. So what I recommend is, now you can maybe gauge it based off of other players in your alliance, but you're going to pick a zombie layer higher than what you think you can do. Now, why do I say higher? Because it's going to give you two important numbers, and you don't want to underestimate and win. So, like, let's say you think, well, I don't know if I can beat a 27, so I'm going to go with a 25. But then you crush it. Well, now you're going to have to test a 26. And then you win that one, and now you're going to have to test a 27. And then suddenly you win that one, and now you're testing a 28. So don't do that. What you should do instead is, let's say you're like, well, I don't know if I can beat a level 28. Well, let me try a level 28, or let me try a level 29. Then what you're going to look at is, hopefully, and I say hopefully tongue in cheek, hopefully you lose. I mean, hopefully you win, but hopefully for testing for solo zombie layers, you lose. Then you'll get some useful information. Come in, read your zombie report, and what you want to look at is this percentage here. Anything above 50% is considered a win. So obviously anything under 50% is a loss. You will often hear of the dreaded 49%. 49% might not sound like a very difficult thing to get from 49 to 50, but you'll be surprised at how big of a difference it can take sometimes, especially certain tiers. Going from, say, 29 to level 30 layer is a big jump, surprisingly. So, that being said, if this number is, let's say it's a loss, and it's at 49%, then you're really close to that layer, and that's what you should be looking at. You should drop down one layer. Now, if that percentage is, let's say, 30%, okay, then you've got a lot of work to do. You're not there yet. But you won't see a ton of different percentages. It's not like you're going to see 36, then 37, then 38%, and then 40%. No. It's going to be like you're going to be in the 30s, or you're going to be in the 40s, or you're going to clear it. It's not much other than that. And a lot of times you're going to get stuck at 49%. So go out, find a layer. Let's say I want to attack this 36. Go out and attack it. See what happens. Read your percentage. And then based upon that percentage, this will tell you obviously to go up or down. So let's say you're like, let's say I didn't know what I could beat, and I'm like, well, let me try a 35. So I attack the 35, and I get the result of 60%. Now, I can tell you from experience, I'm shooter-based. 60% isn't enough to get me to the next level layer. What I'm looking for is 68 to 70%. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule, but what I recommend for fighters is at least 66% to 70%, and riders 66 to 68%. If you're at those numbers, and I've seen lower numbers do it, don't get me wrong. I guess my point is if you're above 60%, and you're anything but shooters, you need to be closer to 70%, then go ahead and try the next level up. If it's like, say, even 63%, I would recommend trying the next level up. You might be at the dreaded 49%, but at least then you'll know. And that's how you test it. So you're going to have to run a couple different layers, start higher, at least one higher than you think. I mean, obviously, if you have good information that, other people with similar setups as yours are doing, let's say 30s, well, then try a 30. But if you don't have anything to go off of and you think, well, I might be able to do a 30, then try a 31. Because I'd rather see you fail it and then be able to retry it the next level down and win that one, and then you'll know exactly where you're at. Kind of like throwing a dart, you get closer, closest. You want to do it within 3. So that being said, testing for solo zombie layers is important. The only other thing I want to mention about zombie layers is there is an important part of soloing is important. One, because you want the casualties down low. But if you are trying, if especially lower level alliances that don't have a ton of big members, if you're trying to get the max rewards and really push your zombie layers, then it is better in most cases, even notwithstanding the casualties, to do the higher level zombie layer. This only gave me an additional 50,000 anti-serum, but that's a pretty big deal when I'm really fighting for anti-serum right now. So if you are in that situation, you really want more anti-serum, then figure out how you can get 2 or 3 people to get a zombie layer above 50%. And that's kind of the trick. You want above 50%, but not a lot above. Like, for instance, in this setup here, we did 72%. That's partially why our casualties were so high, because we did a really high percentage. So we were in the battle longer than we needed to be. If you get it down closer to 50%, then what that means is that you're going to end the battle faster, so less of your troops are actually going to die. I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but those are the facts. If you're around 50%, let's say you're at 54%, your casualties are going to be less, generally speaking, than if you go up to, say, 60%. So, that being said, if you can get up to, like, let's say, as you can 2-man, 3-man, or 4-man a really high zombie layer with low casualties, maybe even sometimes lower than you can a solo layer, then you want to do that instead, when at all possible. So 2-man zombie layers is a great tactic, as opposed to just soloing them. If you are online with that person while you're trying to do it, obviously, that's the only other requirement. If you have different people that are similarly stacked, then of course you can, alternate between them and do it that way. So that's what I would recommend. If you're especially trying to get those higher level layers, you definitely want to push for it. And then as your alliance gets up there and your alliance is starting to see level 35 and up zombie layers, people can solo them, then you really need to start focusing on potentially doing 2-man and 3-man zombie layers so that you can get the higher level layer until everybody can do, let's say, level 40s with a minimum casualty count. Because level zombie layer 40 is the cap right now. As of this video, it's the highest zombie layer there is. So you won't want to be there with the minimum casualties. If I had a 10-minute heal time and I could do a level 40 zombie layer all day, then that's all I would do. Even if it took a 2 or 3-man crew, I would do that all day, because it's the exact same stamina cost to do a 35 as it is to do a 40. So, that being said, that's everything, guys. I know there might be some questions, and there's a lot of debate on this topic as it applies to different factors of troop types and things like that. Believe me, I'm working on it. It's a big math problem that we don't have all the information for. It might not even be something I'm able to solve. So if you have answers on that, let me know, please. I'd love to know and share it with everybody. But that being said, I hope this video helps. Put your questions and comments in the section below. Give the video a like if it helps. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.